Hello and welcome to the Queen's Couch Podcast with our amazing host, Dr. Tanika Victoria. She curates a space for women where all women are encouraged to collaborate and do not collide. Join us on the couch tonight. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Queen's Couch. Tonight, we are kicking off our Mental Health Awareness Month series with something near and dear to my heart, grief. And so on tonight, I have a special guest that's going to share her story, her victory, and how she used her faith on her healing journey. So tonight I have none other than Dr. Veronica Williams. Dr. V, welcome to the Queen's Couch. How are you on tonight?
I am doing amazing. I am doing amazing, Dr. Taniko. I really, really appreciate this opportunity and I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yes. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you do, and all the amazing and wonderful things you are to so many people.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Okay. Well. To start off, I am, of course, you introduced me. I am Dr. V. Well, I call myself Dr. V, Dr. Veronica Williams. I am the senior pastor at this present time of Destiny Faith International. And I also have a nonprofit organization which is called TNJ Awareness HIV AIDS in the Youth. I am the CEO. So, as she said, I have a lot going on, but I enjoy every moment of it. And I am so glad that God chose me for this opportunity. I always tell my church I pastor the best people in the whole wide world because they have to deal with me. Yeah.
That is amazing just to be doing so many wonderful and amazing things. So, we're going to dive right in. And so, I wanted to ask you, can you share your personal journey of navigating grief after loss? Tell us about that.
Well, one thing about it, Dr. Taniko, I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm gonna have to be honest, and I am a transparent person because the time I lost my husband. He transitioned in the year of 2021 after 44 years of our life together. I was very, very young, 18 years old. He was 22, and we connected. So my whole life was spent with no one but him. No one but him. And when I say that literally because every day we talked, every day we were together, every day it was nobody, every day nobody but me and him. So we had a close relationship. If we wasn't together, we would talk. So that's how we were, up until the year of 2021, where my life shifted. And when I say it shifted, it shifted. It brought me to a place of I don't know what to do. Even though I have always been an independent person, he allowed me to be that way. He never put that clutch on me that I had to depend on him, but he groomed me for my independence and also taught me how to be who I am today. But I never thought that this would come. It would come to this. I think I wrote a poem months ago about how he taught me how to change the oil in my car, how to change tires. He taught me how to drive. I got my license because he taught me, but he never. At the end of it, I say he never taught me how to live without him, and that was the part that I had to really come to understand. It's over. It's over. And when I got to that place, it took a couple of years. It took a couple of years. I understood that he left in 2021, but reality didn't kick in until 2023. I was going through the motion. I was going through the motion. I was going through the motion of believing that this is not true, even though I know that he wasn't there with me, but I had it mentally set in my mind. Whatever happens, however it happened, that's how I'm gonna deal with it. So it wasn't a good journey for me, and I didn't realize it until up until, no, it wasn't 2023. I'm sorry. It was 2024 last year, June 2024, when reality kicked in. So I have been saved for the last 38 years. We have been ministering. I have been pastoring for about 35 years, teaching the word, doing all the good things that we were supposed to have done. But when it knocked at my door, I coached, I imparted it into other people's life. But when it knocked on my door, my whole life changed. So I can't say for my first 3 years that it was a great journey. If I didn't have faith in God to believe who God was and great people around me to support me and be there for me and with me, I actually think I would have crushed and crashed. So I thank God, for God doing what He done in my life up until now, not giving up on me, not letting me just, crumble, but just kept encouraging me through the word. So it wasn't a good journey, to be truthful. It was not a good journey, but I never spoke that to anyone. They always would come around and say, you so strong, you got all this going on, but they actually didn't know what was going on in the inside.
So how did your faith help anchor you during that time? Because I know it had to be a serious faith walk to be with someone for this long, and now they're not there.
Well, just like I said, my husband taught me how to be strong in God. He taught me. I watched him for many, many years, and I was always say, how in the world do he get through this and that? So now it's to the place of I got to do likewise what he taught me. Now I got to apply it to my life. And that's what kept me going, because I got to the place of allowing it to be applied to my life. What I saw, I was able to apply it to my life and just hang on until I was able to get out of that dark place. So it was the word of God, me loving God with everything that I had inside of me having people that was around me that were faith believing people that love God with everything that they have, just being there for their support, being in my life and supporting me through what I was going through.
That's amazing to have people that support you and understand. What do you think are some misconceptions that people have about grief, especially in the faith community? What are some misconceptions that they have about grief?
I think that some of the misconceptions that a lot of people have, especially those that say they love God and trust God, I think they actually think, and don't get me wrong, because I, just like I said, I love the Lord with everything that I have, but it has come to a place. Sometime it comes to a place that I need a little bit more of other than the word. I was out one evening, and a young man, a pastor, saw me, and he said, "Oh, my condolences go out to you." And then he touched me on the shoulder and he said, "God won't put no more on you than you can bear." And I'm looking like I don't want to hear this, because I've been preaching and teaching this to everyone else. I know God won't. I actually got angry behind it. I actually got angry behind it because people began to start telling me, God won't put no more on you than you can bear. You gonna get over these. These were faith believing people. I mean, come on. You expect me? Maybe it was fine with you if you've gone through that, but right now, this is not what I need. And the misconception comes when we, as the body of Christ, think that we should have the healing the way that they think it should be done. But I've learned through my process that it don't work like that for everyone, and we can't confront everybody the same as we may have confronted somebody else. So it's definitely a misconception. We actually think that, well, let's go. When it's time, let me give you this scripture. I know all that. I've read the Bible from back to front to back. I know all that. But what am I going to do now at this dark place that I'm in? And we gotta do better as who we are in being able to help people through the grieving part.
That's true, because sometimes you just don't want to hear scripture. You just don't, because you know the scriptures, you know all the scriptures that people are telling you. You're saying them to yourself, and you're holding on like, I know it, but right now I need something else. Maybe I need a hug, or maybe I need something different. What were some things that helped you um to be able to cope and get to the place that you are right now?
One of the things, and one of the things that really, really helped me, two things. One of them was I have a friend that she would call me every day, every other day, or whatever. And she would just talk. We would talk about, you want to go eat some fish? She'll talk about what you wearing to church. She would never bring up about the situation of me grieving. She would always detour me away from what I was going through, and it made me feel so at peace. It made me feel so at peace because I didn't need to hear that, because that's all I was hearing. I know my husband's gone. I know I got to get over it. I know I got to believe God. I know that. But she never shared that with me. And she was there to be a friend when I needed a friend. And I'm so grateful for her. And the other thing was, we were doing a project at our old church, and this older lady, she was 82 years old. She called me because we had an account with her, and she called me, and she was, giving her condolence, and she just was talking, and she said, Pastor, I know how you feel. She said, I know how you feel. She said, because I've been with my husband for 62 years, and I think it was like 10 years ago he passed. And she said, sometimes she said, I'm 82 years old and I still cry at night. She said, it's okay. She said, it's okay for you to cry. She said, it's okay for you not to think that you got to be strong for everybody, because that's who I am in my family. I'm the forerunner for my family, and I feel that I felt that I had to be the strong one in the family. And I couldn't grieve when I needed to grieve because everybody needed me, but not realizing at that present time, I needed everybody, because I just had to weaken myself to, I need everybody in my life. And she brought me out. She really opened up my eyes during the time that I was going through. And I was just so grateful just to hear her testimony and just share, because it was a stranger. It was a stranger, not somebody that knew me. It was a stranger. And then she was concerned about my well-being. And then she tells me, doctor, she said, you can grieve. She said, but make sure you don't make yourself sick as you grieve. She said, you got to learn how to grieve healthy. She said, it's fine, but you got to learn how to grieve healthy, because, some of us get caught, and before you know it, we're sick. And now somebody got to tend to us because of not realizing what we had to face. So just having people there that understand what you're going through.
So you talked about healthy grieving. What are some ways believers can learn to grieve and not feel guilty about grieving? Because I think sometimes people make you feel like you need to be over it. You should be over it by now, and but it's not that easy.
And it's so true. And when you said that, a light came back over my head, because the day after my husband transitioned, I had a phone call, and I got on the phone, and I was, talking about what took place with, his departure. And the young lady came on the phone. She said, oh, you'll get over it. I lost mine, and you'll get over it. It won't be like that always. And I'm saying, oh my God, this person is heartless. I'm talking 44 years of nobody that I've ever loved, but one person in my entire life. And for her to say something like that, I thank God to this day that I really didn't have enough sense to realize that what she said would have destroyed me, because God had me in a place that I was numb. So I really didn't know what was going on around me. And I was numb to it. And I'm saying, God, how can people be so cruel when you're going through a time that you've never experienced, and they expect you to feel like how they feel? And I said to myself, I said, well, maybe she didn't love her husband the way I loved mine. How can you tell me that? Maybe she was happy that he's gone. But it wasn't like that for me. And it's like that for other people. I'm just talking about my spouse, but you have other people, and of course, that have lost loved ones that you have been so close to, and people actually think that you're supposed to feel it just like how they feel it. It's not that way. It's not that way. It's the way that we have to learn how to deal with people accordingly. Understand their ways, and that's why I didn't talk about this part. My compassion, my passion came from becoming a grief coach, because I understand this is a hard transition that we have to make in life. I've lost my mom, I've lost my dad, I buried my brother, my sister, people that were very close to me and very dear. But to lose somebody that after 44, every day you spent, every day you had plans to spend the rest of your life with. I told him one time, Dr. Tanika, I told him, I said, this, and I'm gonna tell you, this was about within the same year. We were just laughing and talking, and I told him, I said, I tell you what, you die and leave me, I'm gonna kill you. We were just laughing because we were jokey people. I say, I'm gonna kill you. He say, what? I said, yeah, I can't afford for you to leave me. I say, I don't have nobody else. It's me and you. And all this is coming back now, but I didn't think about it in 2021 that God was preparing me for this. We would just say different things. We talked about what if, when this happened, because we've been together forever, but we never talked that deep. But it's like God prepared me for it, but I just wasn't ready for it. He prepared me, but I wasn't ready, because nobody be ready for death. Nobody be ready for somebody to leave. But then when God, prepare us for it, this is when we pay attention to what's going on around you. And it's just coming back. Things are coming back. I promise you. I went in a dark place. I went in a dark place from 2021. I'm getting ready to tell you, 2021 up until 2024, 3 years. And I preached. I never took what we call a sabbatical. He passed in September. Come October, I'm back up preaching, because I felt that this is what I needed to do to cover. This is what he was looking for me to do. And I preached for 3 years without realizing I need some help. And I got in that dark place. And I guess that was the place of, because it's different stages of grief. And I got in that dark place of denial. I got in that place of denial where I was numb to whatever took place. And I would tell my kids, I say, nothing in this world can hurt my heart no more. I don't have a heart to hurt no more. I just numb myself that whatever happens, oh well. And I realize now that's not the way it's supposed to be. But at that time, that's the way I felt. It was fine. It was fine with me. So I got in that place of denial. I got in the place of disbelief. Listen at me. I honestly got to the place that I said, maybe this wasn't real. Maybe I never got married. Maybe this is what's going on in my mind, because I'm trying to weigh this thing out. It's no way that this is how it ended. I protected myself to avoid pain and coming to the reality. Nobody else didn't have to do it. I protected myself. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing can hurt me no more. Not realizing that I did not accept what God did. And listen, I had to minister to my family. I mean, I'm still ministering to them. I'm still telling them, y'all, come on, we got to get through this. This was the doing. This was the work of God, and here I am. I got in that dark place. I got in that dark place of anger. Man, nobody could say nothing to me. I didn't act it out. I did not act it out, but inside of me, it was some stuff going on inside of me that really tore me apart until.
So you talked about different stages of grief, the anger, the disbelief. Um, and so how do you recognize when you're in those states, when you're in those different phases of grief? Um, a person, they may not even be themselves. How do you recognize where you are?
Well, you got to be good, because just like I said, I protected myself that nobody could recognize it. And I guess I could have been a great actor, because I pretended for so long that I was okay, especially when everybody kept saying, you so strong, and you got this, and everything, and I'm looking like, yeah, right, if y'all only knew. And I never shared that with anyone, because I was trying to prove to me and the others that I'm okay. I'm okay. So to recognize it, you got to understand, you, number one, first of all, if you being who you are, you got to have a discerning of spirits. You got, being a Christian, you got to have a discerning of spirits, what's going on before a individual that you're not right. Because I played it, just like I said, I worked it out. I played it to the end. Nobody would never have known if I didn't say anything that I was really going through a hard time. I, Dr. Tanika, I was so good. I was so good. I was so good. The doctor couldn't even figure out what was going on with me. I'm trying to tell you, I would go to the doctor, my heart would be hurting, and they would say, well, it's not stress. We can't figure out what's going on. God told me about a few months ago, he said, you did this so good. This thing was so deep inside of you that the natural eyes couldn't even see what was going on with you. That thing blew my mind. I said, when I finally realized what was going on, he said, the natural eyes couldn't see what was going on with you. He said, God said, that's why I had to reveal to you, you need some help. So if you good at what you do and you can hide yourself, unless you have discerning of spirits, you can't tell. You can't tell. But then some people naturally, just like I said, they'll deal with anger. Why you wonder why they so angry? Because they angry at what took place. Nobody told me what was going on. God, I can't believe you did this to me, or whatever. You begin to start bargaining, with different people and things, situations, where you begin to negotiate a way of getting back. You probably end up like me, trying to substitute, spending money galore, because I had to find that place. I had to get back somehow or another. Something's not right. But so now I would spend money. I would spend money. I would buy things, just trying to make myself happy. I would go and buy things what I knew my husband would buy. If every birthday he'll buy me all kind of diamonds. So now here I am, my birthday coming up. I'm buying me some diamonds, or I'm going on a trip because this is what he would do for me. This thing was so deep. Before my husband transitioned, he said, when he would talk to me the day of his transition, he said, now don't you get too small now. So I'm hearing him. It's no way. I knew what was going on, but I refused to accept it. He said, don't get too small. I said, I'm not getting small. I'm thinking that right now. This is what I'm talking. I'm not getting small. He said, no. He said, don't you hear me? Don't get too small. So, okay, later I heard what he said years later. So this is what took place. I want to satisfy him. I won't get too small. So from the time he told me that, I done gained 12 pounds because I'm still holding this in my head. I don't want to get too small because my husband said, don't get too small. I had to get myself, I had to get myself together. I had to get myself together because when I realized 12 more pounds done been added to me because I'm still trying to live for what he said, don't get too small. Now I'm going to gain weight because I want to make sure that I'm still satisfying him as somebody that's not there mentally. Now, I didn't tell nobody that I'm not, I'm gonna gain some weight because no, mentally, this is what's going on in my mind. So these are the things, these are some of the signs that we still continue to still live up to what somebody transitioned, have already transitioned, told us what to do and not to do. So now we depressed. We depressed. We sad all the time. We don't want to be around anyone. We feel hopeless. You know, these are some of the things, these are some of the symptoms that we can pay attention and see that we backing up. Instead of moving forward, we backing up. So it's a scary moment. It's really a scary moment. And just like I said, I was great at it. I played it to the letter. I played it to the letter until one day I got tired. I got tired. I got tired. I said, God, I need some help. And God took me to a church by myself. He took me to a church by myself. God sent a man of God all the way from New York to come and minister. I say to me, the church was packed, but it's like God shut everybody else out. And it was just me and that preacher. I heard nothing but what he was saying to me. He was talking to me. And when he spoke to me, that's when I realized, God, I thank you. I heard no, I'm hearing everybody, amen, amen. And I'm saying to myself, I said, do they not hear this man talking? And the Holy Spirit came and said, no, because he's talking to you. I said, oh my God. That was the day that I got delivered and I got set free. And I realized that I got to go on with life because this is not it. So it's signs that we can pay attention to, that we'll see that people are not moving forward. They're going back, and we got to be there for them.
So tell me, you said from that day forward. So what was some changes that you immediately made when you said, you know what, this is it. I have to start walking in healthy grief, not hiding, not wearing a mask, being authentically who I am. What was some of the first things that you did?
The first thing that I did, I came back to my church and I apologized to them because I told them I felt like I was misleading y'all, and they looking like, what did you do? I said, because I was preaching the truth but living a lie. I was preaching what God will do, but I was living it, not allowing him to do it for me. So I came back to my church and I apologized to him. And then I began to tell him, I said, I'm back, y'all. I'm back. I've accepted what the process that God had placed before me. I've accepted that my husband is gone. I accepted that he's not coming back. I accepted that God have me here for purpose. And I got to finish my assignment, what he has for me. I got to continue to live. And then from that day forth, man, life have never been so much better. You talking about somebody can sleep at night? Now I was sleeping, but I wasn't resting. I slept. I would fall asleep. It was so terrible. I would fall asleep wherever I would fall asleep, but I was not resting because I would try to get a nap because I know I'm going to be up for the rest of the night, just sitting, looking and wondering. And Dr. Tanika, I was to the place that I didn't even want to pray. I did not want to pray because I'm like, okay, if I pray, what good is it going to do? That's how deep it was. But when when God sent the man of God for me, he sent him for me. I felt like Lazarus, because all other people were around me, but I felt like Lazarus. And he called my name. Believe it or not, it was hundreds of people in there. I was the first person that God used, that man of God, to come and lay hands on me and set me free. And from that day forth, 2024, June, it'll be a year next month, I've never been the same. I know I have purpose now. Even though I knew, just like I said, I know what the word said. I preached it to everybody. I lived it out. But when it was my time, am I able to walk it on out? So I've never been the same. My life is so much easier. I enjoy every moment. My job now is to be able to help people in this situation, that I can be there to console them and pray for them, and whatever I can do to help somebody. And somebody else is out there in a dark place, just like how I was. I can tell them. I'm very transparent. I don't try to hide, because I've hid myself for so long, and I don't want nobody to ever get, if I can help, I don't want them to ever get to that place that they think it's not a way out.
So, what would you tell someone who have just experienced grief, whether the loss of their mother, their spouse, someone they're very close to? What would be some things that you would tell them to let them know that they still can live, that they still can breathe, that is still hope for them after the loss of someone that they love so much?
Well, one thing about grief, it's a process. It's a process. We may go forward, and then we may back up 2 steps. We may even go back to step one, but don't give up, because it is a process. And as I said earlier, we got to learn how to grieve healthy, because and the Bible said, of course, it's that time. It's a time and place for everything. So it's the time that we can grieve, but we got to learn how to grieve healthy. Grieving is so deep, and it's personal, and I would not try to weigh what I've gone through to what somebody else is going through, because it can be totally different, and they may not be able to understand it like how I did. It took me 3 years. It may not take nobody that long. It may take somebody longer, but understanding that it's a process, and God will never give up on us. He will never give up on us. He would let us go through what we need to go through. And also don't separate yourself. Don't separate yourself. Don't isolate yourself. Don't ever get to the place thinking that I can handle this by myself. You can't. God have people in place. Just like I said earlier about my friend, she would call me. Let's go eat some fish. Let's do this. Let's do that. She would be there for me. She never talked. She'll ask me, "You okay?" "I'm good." "Okay." And until I was ready to talk to her, she never forced me. "You need to talk about this." She never brought that out, but until I was ready. But some people, you may have to lead them into those kind of conversations that they can vent, but don't isolate yourself. Know that there's help out there. Some of us may have to, get medical help. They have therapists out there. They have a grieving coach like me and others that are out there that can help you through these kind of times. Realize that you can get help. Don't have yourself out there by yourself. Everybody's not good as I was. And I was real good. I was real good at what I did. But I got to a place that I was tired. and it was before it got bad. Some people may not get to that. So learn that it's a process. It takes time. It may not take as long as it took for me. It may be a short time for you or whatever, but it's still a process, and don't ever give up.
Thank you for sharing that. As you, if you're someone who's supporting, how can friends, family members, and churches better support those who are grieving, instead of just minimizing their pain? How can they better support individuals who are grieving?
Well, just like I said, we got to know the individual. Um, we really got to know the individual, and if you don't, you got to learn the individual and trust them. And once you hear conversations with people, if you're in that field to understand, you'll see exactly where they are, and you know how to deal with them where they are. Not just like I said, I didn't need nobody bringing me scriptures. that didn't calm me. I didn't need that because I knew what the word says. So I didn't need scriptures. All that was good. Everything. And I would tell people I appreciate it, but I know that. I know that. So now I need to apply it to my life. So and I'm not saying that the word is not good, because it brings us to that place we need. But you got to know how you dealing with people and who you dealing with to bring understanding to them, for them to get what they supposed to have. You got to learn how to connect to people. If God have you in place to help people, you got to learn how to connect with them and understand where they are, so you'll know what to say, how to minister. You may not have to say nothing. They may just need you to be a listening ear. Just listen at what I got to say, because a lot of people, well, yeah, you should know better. You are so right. You are so right. If somebody would have told me that, I'd let them know you're right. I should have, but I never dealt with this before. So why would you tell me I should know better and I've never dealt with it? Well, you know the word. You are so right. You are so right. I know what the word says, but I never had to apply this part to my life. So now I need my spiritual eyes open to really understand what's before me. So now you got to learn how to connect with the people that God have in place with you, before you, that you can help them, bring them to that place that they need to be. You just got to know what you're doing, because we can't mess them up. Now we can mess them up. We can make them worse than what they are, because the word doesn't say you done preach it. Yeah, all that's good, but come on, come on. I'm also a person that I'm vulnerable for what I need to do at this present time to get out where I am. Amen.
Yes, connecting with people is so important, and sometimes that's the missing piece of the puzzle when it comes down to ministering to people. We don't connect with them. We give them we give them something that they already have, but sometimes you need to connect. Just like, we don't look on people with compassion. And I really never knew what that really meant. I always heard it was like Jesus looked on them with compassion, but when you look on someone with compassion, you're going to do something to help them, because you're looking at them not on the outside, you're looking at them in the spirit, and you're seeing what they need. And I think a lot of times people don't look at people with compassion. They just hear that word. He looked
Yeah.
on them with compassion, but it's different. He
Yeah.
looked at everything that they were going through before he act and gave a solution. And so sometimes we need to learn to take that page when we minister to people, to have compassion and connect, like you said, connect with people.
Yeah. Yes, yes. That is so important. And you gotta always surround yourself with support. You gotta surround yourself with support. Just like I said, the enemy will try to isolate you and think that nobody understand what you're going through. And maybe the circle that you in, maybe they don't. Maybe they have never experienced that. But then when you come to the place that you have friends or family or whatever, and they have told you how much they love you, then love is so broad that right now, love me where I am. And you got to understand that they love you where you are, and they want to be there to support you where you are. And that goes back to that connection. We got to learn how to surround ourselves with people that's connected to us. Not that how sometimes if you single and you may be friends with America, I don't understand what you're going to. So does that mean you can't love me because I'm single and you're married? That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It's about I'm there for you whenever you need me. And so we got to learn how to connect ourselves to people when they are going through, whether they're young going through the grieving part, or whether they old. Just like I said, the late young lady was 82 years old, and she experienced losing the loss of her husband, but she was able to pour into my life. She was able to pour into my life what brought me to a place of comfort for that moment. And it's okay. She would tell me it's okay if you wake up crying. Believe it or not, this is how my life was before I really got help. I would never look at no old pictures of us. Didn't want to see them. I didn't want to hear music that we shared together, worship music, all that. I didn't want it. I wanted none of that. Here we are for almost 4 years. I want you to know that I'm just now going through his stuff. After 4 years, I'm able to deal with it now. After 4 years, I'm cleaning out storages now, all his stuff. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with it. I didn't want to work, move out of frustration because, oh, I'm getting rid of this. I'm getting rid of that. I don't want this around me. No, just like I said, it was a process that I needed for God to heal me before I start distributing, his things. So it took going on 4 years, September. It took that long for me. Some people, they want to get it out their sight then. Now I can hear music that we used to listen to. I can look at pictures and don't cry all the time. I can tell people, when they ask me, where's your husband? He's gone on to be with the Lord, and I don't cry anymore. Not saying that I forgot about who he is in my life, but God he's grown me up to that now I got this. But sometimes, listen, it still be times that I'll go in that room and tears will come out, but it's not like how it used to be. It used to be I'll cry all night and didn't want to come out the room and didn't want to talk to nobody about whatever's going on. But now I can shed the tears, thank God for the victory, and keep going.
That is amazing. People always talk about grieving with hope. And so what does that mean to you to grieve with hope? Now that you've gone through this dark place, how could you tell someone to grieve with hopes of a new normal? Because it won't be the same anymore. So how can they grieve with the hope of a new normal in their lives?
And that's so true. Grieving with hope is I'm going to get myself out of where I was. I'm not stopping here. I know that, just like I said earlier, God have a purpose for my life. And I got to understand whatever the purpose is. My purpose was when we were together, I told him, I said, we done been this long together. We going to leave here together. That's the way we look. We would hold hands all the time. I said, and this is how we going to leave. That was my hope, that I wouldn't have to go through this. That was my hope. But that wasn't a plan and hope for God. So now that I'm grieving through this, I'm grieving with hope that God is going to bring me to that place in my life that I will be fulfilled and be able to walk in my destiny that he have for me right now. I'm not giving up. I'm hoping for whatever the Lord have for me right now, that it's going to come to pass. I'm not giving up. I'm coping with whatever's before me, and I'm not giving up. And that's what we got to keep that, in our mind and our hearts, that I'm not giving up. Things, my life have shifted. My life have shifted, but I feel now that it's shifted for a better place. Not shifted because it's bad and this is it. No, it's shifted. God have me here for purpose, and it shifted for a better place. And that's the hope that I have right now. I have hope in God that He's going to bring me out. That's why I'm grieving through it all. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay if we can understand that. It's okay for us to grieve. But as you asked the question, let's grieve with hope that I'm going to get out of this. As they say, this too shall pass. It won't be this way always. Weeping may endure it for a night, but then the scripture tells us, joy cometh in the morning. Say, I'm waiting on my joy. I'm waiting on what God has for me. I'm waiting on it. So I'm believing that this is not it. Even me coming out from last year, it's just been a year. It's just been 1 year. Anxiety kicked in so bad in my life. I've never experienced any of that in my entire life. But anxiety got a hold to my life. And everything brought fear to me because my protector on earth left me. So now I got to oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? But now I can understand I have hope. And all my hope is in God. And as He reveal and unfold things to me, this is what keeps me going. I don't have a bad day no more. I don't have a bad day, even though I cry sometimes. But it's still good. Because God, I know my morning is coming.
Yes. Yes. This has been such a transformational story for so many people, because sometimes people get in the dark space and they don't come out. And so to recognize, like, hey, I need to come out. I need to get to a place of hope. I need to get to a place of peace. I need to get to knowing that my purpose didn't stop because my loved one is gone, or my loved one isn't here, or my sister isn't here, or my best friend isn't here. And so I definitely understand what it is to grieve someone. And sometimes you'll grieve too long. I've grieved too long, and I've been to a place where the grieving was shorter, but I couldn't believe it. You just like, you go to pick up the phone and you're like, well, I can't call her. I can't talk to her right now. I can't, you know, and even today something happened and I said, boy, I really miss her. Because she'll say, just calm down. Don't say anything. Or she would step in. But sometimes you have to keep living. And so you have to keep living, and you have to say, hey, me living and me going on
Yeah,
is going to be the best gift I could give to myself and my loved one.
that's
And
right.
so I'm so glad that you were able to share your story. I know that people feel that they know that they're not alone. Like sometimes in the church, we feel like we got to put it on. If they say you're going to put it on, you're going to get up there, you're going to do the will of the Lord. But sometimes when you're wounded and sometimes when you are bleeding, you have to come to the point where, like you said someone came for deliverance. You may need counseling,
Right.
whatever it is to get you to the place where you can stop bleeding sometimes while you're leading. Because it's like you know all the things to say, but then when you get in that spot for yourself, you like, is it true for me?
Yeah,
Is it going to happen for me? Why am I gonna pray? Because I don't know if it's gonna happen for me. It's gonna happen for everybody else, and it can get to that point. But I'm glad you're on the other side of victory. And
Yes.
so I always, if you had one closing word that you would like to tell my audience tonight, what would that be on tonight?
Well, listen, while grieving, avoid dwelling on the past. Stop dwelling on the past and let the past be a victory time that you made it through that. I'm not going back to where I was. I'm going to keep going forward. I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep believing God. And a lot of times we love to celebrate. Well, we have the memorial times of memories and stuff. Well, let's make it a celebration. Let's make it a celebration of victory. If we're going to have that time of just encouraging and the time that we think about our loved ones that have left us, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate of all the great things that they have done, and we can continue. Avoid going to the past. We had some good time. We had the best times ever, but those times were good, and they brought me to where I am now. And I'm going to continue to celebrate, not looking at, oh God. And I want to share this because, and I know we getting ready to go, but we would always be together, eat breakfast, lunch, whatever. And it took me 2 years to decide I'm going out by myself. But I got past it. I got past it. And now I don't like doing it all the time. I don't do it all the time. But if I got to go to lunch by myself, if I got to go to breakfast by myself, if I want to go out and eat dinner by myself, I get dressed up. And I used to cry looking around at other couples and everything. But now I'm saying, Lord, bless them, Lord. Let them have a prosperous life like I had. Let them be able to enjoy their spouse. It was a process, but I'm here. And I thank God for it. Stop going to the past and go
That
to
is
the
amazing.
future. Amen.
Thank you so much for being on the couch with me, Dr. V, on tonight. It has been amazing. It has been enlightening. And I'm thank you for your transparency. I thank you for your honesty. I thank you for just sharing your heart and how you have a passion now to help those
Amen.
not stay in the dark, but to
Yeah.
grieve with hope and to
Yes.
hope in their future that they have a purpose and they have a plan after the loss. So thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
it has been an honor and a pleasure. Hey, you have been on the Queen's Couch with Dr. Taniko Victoria, and we have just started our series on mental health awareness. Join me next week as we talk about how mental health will impact our churches. So thank you so much, Dr. V, and we look forward to seeing you next week on the Queen's Couch. And this is the place where queens collaborate and do not collide. Thank you so much for joining me on the
Thank
couch,
you.
and we will see you on next week. Have an
Yes.
amazing night.
Bless
Nice.
you.
Bless you.
Mhm.